Were you educated to fit the system?
Teachers at this primary school in China
蓝色是走神了，
know exactly when someone isn't paying attention.
白色
Imagine a world where your potential is deliberately capped, where the education system is designed not to elevate you, but to limit you.
The test should tell us what to do.
Sounds like a dystopian novel, right? But what if I told you this might be happening right now, in your own country, no matter where you are in this world, without you even realizing it?
The real role of leadership in education, and I think it's true at the national level, the state level, at the school level, is not and should not be command and control.
To understand this, we need to go back to the birth of the modern school system. 1717, Prussia. Education becomes mandatory. Its main goal, to create a disciplined, obedient populace capable of serving the state's administrative and military needs. It focused on producing compliant and effective workers and soldiers who could follow orders and fit into the hierarchical structure of the state. 1789 France. The French Revolution is over. A national education system is proposed and gradually implemented. Its main goal, reducing the influence of the Catholic Church, ensuring that the populace adhered to the state's secular values and are prepared to contribute to the country's economic and political stability. 1852, United States. Massachusetts passed the first compulsory education law. Its main goal, produce disciplined, reliable, obedient workers who could fill the needs of factories and businesses, thereby supporting economic growth and maintaining social order. 1870, the United Kingdom also implements the compulsory school system, followed by Japan in 1872 and the rest of the world. All for the same reason, brainwashing at scale to produce cogs in society's machine and inhibit independent, critical thinking.
Education should aim at destroying free will, so that after pupils are thus schooled, they will be incapable throughout the rest of their lives of thinking or acting otherwise than as their schoolmasters would have wished. When the technique has been perfected, every government that has been in charge of education for more than one generation will be able to control its subjects securely without the need of armies or policemen.
But Olivier, hang on. It's the 21st century. Surely our education system is better now and focuses on individual success rather than just fitting people into predefined roles.
Everything is just sunshine and rainbows!
Wrong.
Today's educational system was developed during the Industrial Revolution. And that's the problem. It hasn't changed in 150 years.
So I go to see the very best teacher in the very best middle school in Austin that's teaching our daughter who's older. And I said, when should we move the boys into regular school? He said, as soon as possible. And I said, well, why? And he said, well, once they've had that kind of freedom, they won't want to be chained to a desk for 8 hours a day and talk to them.
So we get them in chains young, but in a somewhat post-industrial world, which is what we're in now, it's not obvious at all that obedient worker / soldier is the right model for human development.
But, well, the education system hasn't changed, except perhaps for the worst, in 150 years. It's just, it's absolutely jaw-dropping.
The school system, they don't want us to learn about money because they just want to pump out good employees that do what they're told. I mean, if you look at school, it's opposite of what it takes to be successful.
So I think colleges are basically for fun and to prove you can do your chores, but they're not for learning.
You're self-taught?
Yeah. Well, self-taught, yes, meaning I don't have an aerospace degree.
So how did you go about acquiring the knowledge?
Well, like I said, I read a lot of books, talked to a lot of people, and have a great team.
Matrix. The old system did not change, but advanced technology is now being used to create better puppets. from a young age.
These headbands measure each student's level of concentration. The information is then directly sent to the teacher's computer and to parents.
Countries with a heavy dependence on low-cost labor often underinvest in higher education. This creates a cycle where the workforce remains underskilled and easily replaceable. One of the most important functions of public school is acting as daycare for all of the employees they created. It's a brilliant, self-perpetuating system. Those in power want you to know enough to operate the system, but not too much that you beat the system. Ever wonder why money, investment, the meaning of debt, and the stock market, the stuff society runs on, are never taught in high school, even though those concepts are much easier to grasp than calculus?
Solve the equation.
I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers, said John D. Rockefeller, oil magnate and robber baron. A country's economic engine is simple, really. Use schools to produce obedient workers rather than independent thinkers. Neglect to teach personal finance, making citizens dependent on credit they don't fully understand. This keeps them happy in the short term, but ultimately forces them to work to repay debt. As they work, they fuel the economy. Those in power and who went through the pain of understanding how money works benefit the most, highlighting the need for fairer policies to distribute economic gains.
In the next 30 years, according to UNESCO, more people worldwide will be graduating through education than since the beginning of history. More people. And it's the combination of all the things we've talked about, technology and its transformation effect on work, and demography and the huge explosion in population. Suddenly, degrees aren't worth anything. Isn't that true? When I was a student, if you had a degree, you had a job. If you didn't have a job, it's because you didn't want one. But now, kids with degrees are often heading home to carry on playing video games. Because you need an MA, where the previous job required a BA, and now you need a PhD for the other. It's a process of academic inflation, and it indicates the whole structure of education is shifting beneath our feet. We need to radically rethink our view of intelligence.
How about you? Are you happy in your current job? Did you get the exact job that you dreamt of as a child? Highly unlikely. But will this ever change? Will the future generation be able to achieve their childhood dream without being pressured by the system?
Sure. So how would you educate your 5 boys?
Actually, I created a little school.
I found it odd that someone from some central office was able to determine that it would take me exactly 2 days to complete Chapter 4, Section 3. They never met me, never met my students, but yet they decided that that's exactly how it would take for all the students in the city of Boston. So a couple of years later, I was given the opportunity to start my own school with some great educators who wanted to create a brand new school system. And at the center of our design process, we wanted to empower those closest to the learning moment.
It's students who are learning, and the system has to engage them, their curiosity, their individuality, and their creativity. That's how you get them to learn. Devolve responsibility to the school level for getting the job done. You see, there's a big difference here between going into a mode of command and control in education. That's what happens in some systems. You know, central governments decide, or state governments decide, they know best and they're going to tell you what to do. The trouble is that education doesn't go on in the committee rooms of our legislative buildings.
The outcome is clear. The education system around the world needs an overhaul at the government level to reflect the needs of the 21st century. With the advance of AI, humans will now need to move back to being lifelong, curious learners and focus on more creative jobs.
And my contention is all kids have tremendous talents and we squander them pretty ruthlessly. And I want to talk about creativity. My contention is that creativity now is as important in education as literacy. and we should treat it with the same status. What these things have in common, you see, is that kids will take a chance. You know, if they don't know, they'll have a go. Am I right? They're not frightened of being wrong. Now, I don't mean to say that being wrong is the same thing as being creative. What we do know is, if you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original. If you're not prepared to be wrong. And by the time they get to be adults, most kids have lost that capacity. They have become frightened of being wrong. And we run our companies this, by the way. We stigmatize mistakes. And we're now running national education systems where mistakes are the worst thing you can make. And the result is that we are educating people out of their creative capacities. Picasso once said this. He said that all children are born artists. The problem is to remain an artist as we grow up. I believe this passionately, that we don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it. Or rather, we get educated out of it.
Countries should invest in education, unlock potential, and drive economic growth. Because in the end, a nation's greatest resource isn't the natural resources or its factories. It's the untapped potential of its people, while we wait for the government to act.
You don't need college to learn stuff, okay? Everything is available basically for free. You can learn anything you want for free.
Curiosity is the kind of engine of achievement.
If anybody has your best interest at heart, it's you. You should take your own education in hand. You should figure out how to make your own money. Be careful in becoming a cog in someone else's machine. Or, if you're happy to be molded for the system, make sure it's a conscious decision for you. These days, you can learn from guys who are beating the system.
The problem: people are programmed at a young age to rely on everyone but themselves to secure their future. The parents who are living in the past and out of touch with new opportunities, the schools that are funded by the system they train you into, the employers who benefit from you not seeking better options and will probably lay you off in the next 10 years, the society that distracts you with news, memes, and other noise that controls your emotional well-being. This is the perfect formula for an insecure future.
Like Ali Abdaal, who dropped out of Cambridge Medical School to create his own business, as well as MKBHD, Thomas Frank, and Sorel Amor, who stopped being a marketing manager and created her own business.
I learned the art of making money online. You are the only one responsible for learning the skill. And honestly, if you are planning on going into a 9-to-5 normal job, try to think differently about that, because that is a very old school way of working, and you're not a slave, you're a human being.
Unless you like your job, then continue on your merry way. And also, these results are mine. This is just examples. I'm not promising anyone anything. Just thought I'd mention.
They're now teaching part of their craft on Skillshare with many other successful individuals. Follow the link in the description for your first month free. Whoa, that was a fun video to make. So what do you think? Is your country limiting your potential? Or did you get the job that you always dreamt of as a kid? Comment below and let's get a conversation started. And remember, your future is ultimately in your hands. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you've enjoyed this style of hopefully visually pleasing videos, please consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell. I was thinking of ways for you guys to monetarily support this channel, so I can keep making videos like this, because it does take up a good chunk of my day every single day, with all the research, scripting, editing. But I also didn't want to shamelessly ask for Patreon money or to push a $9.99 course on you guys. So I came up with this pretty simple and effortless way for you guys to support this channel if you want to. So down below in the description, you can open up my Amazon affiliate link in a new tab. And then you can bookmark it by clicking the star icon on your Chrome. That way, whenever you feel like buying something from Amazon, you can click on that link to take you to the Amazon homepage. And I'll get like 30 cents if you get like a book or something, at no extra cost to you. So that will be linked below if you want to support this channel. And if you do, thank you so much. Click on these other videos on the screen that I feel confident that you'll enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, my friend, take care.